Let me ask you something. Have you ever wondered why some people break through every barrier while others stay stuck in the same place year after year? It's not luck. It's not some magic formula. It's not because they were born with better resources than you. The difference comes down to one simple truth. You become what you think about most of the time. If you wake up every day thinking small, worrying about what could go wrong, convincing yourself you're not enough, you've already written the script of your life. You've already limited what's possible. And here's the brutal reality. Your mind doesn't care if what you tell it is true or not. It believes whatever you repeat to it long enough. That's why people who constantly think in terms of fear, scarcity, and doubt live a life of fear, scarcity, and doubt. But the opposite is also true. When you train your mind to think bigger, to focus on possibility, to believe in growth, and to see yourself as capable of more, you start to attract the very opportunities, the very people, the very moments that align with that vision. Life begins to open up in ways you never imagined because your thoughts are the blueprint of your destiny. So today, I'm asking you to stay with me. Because if you can shift what you think about, if you can elevate your focus, if you can start thinking bigger than you ever have before, then this won't just be another motivational talk. This will be the moment where your entire future changes. Most people don't realize how powerful the words inside their own head truly are. The truth is, the conversations you're having with yourself every single day are shaping the person you are becoming. Every thought is like a command to your subconscious mind. And the scary part is, most of those commands are running on autopilot. You don't even notice them because you've repeated them for so long they've become your reality. You tell yourself, I can't do this, and suddenly your body doesn't even try. You whisper in your mind, I'm not enough, and everything you do is filtered through that belief. You convince yourself this is too hard, and your brain immediately starts shutting down doors of possibility before you've even knocked. Think about it. Often do you catch yourself talking down to yourself in ways you would never talk to someone you love. You wouldn't call your best friend a failure. You wouldn't tell your child they're hopeless. You wouldn't look at someone you admire and say, you'll never make it. Yet inside your own head, you accept those words as normal. And here's the kicker. The mind doesn't care if the words you repeat are empowering or destructive. It just takes them in and builds your reality around them. If you say you're not good enough long enough, you'll live as if it's true. If you say you're too old, too young, too inexperienced, too broken, your subconscious will make sure your actions line up with that story. The moment you shift your inner dialogue, everything changes. The moment you start speaking to yourself as the person you want to become, not the person you've been, you begin to rewrite the script. Instead of, I can't, you begin to say, I will find a way. Instead of, I'm not enough, you affirm, I am growing, I am learning, I am becoming more every single day. Instead of, this is too hard, you start saying, this is a challenge, but I'm built for challenges. Rise when it gets tough. That inner language isn't just feel-good talk. It's reprogramming your nervous system. It's changing the way your brain searches for solutions, the way your body responds under pressure, the way your heart believes in what's possible. Here's the thing, your brain is like a GPS. If you program it with limitations, it will only take you to destinations within those limits. But if you program it with possibility, with certainty, with big thinking, it will reroute, recalculate, and keep searching until it gets you closer to the vision you've set. That's why the most successful people are obsessive about the way they talk to themselves. They guard their inner dialogue like it's the most valuable resource they own, because it is. Now let's be clear, I'm not talking about blind positivity, about ignoring problems or pretending life is perfect. No, talking about owning the fact that the words you feed your mind determine the strength you bring to the problems in front of you. Life will throw storms at you whether you like it or not. But the question is, are you going to step into the storm saying, I can't handle this? Or are you going to step into it saying, I may not have all the answers, but I will figure this out. I will grow through this and I will not back down. That's a completely different energy, and energy is everything. Your inner dialogue is either the fuel that drives you forward or the weight that drags you down. You can't afford to keep feeding yourself words that chain you to a small life. You've got to start feeding yourself words that pull you toward a bigger vision, words that stretch you, words that ignite you, words that remind you of your potential when your circumstances are screaming the opposite. Because here's the truth. World will try to tell you what you can't do. The critics will try to convince you to play it safe. Your past will try to whisper that you've already failed too many times. Your inner dialogue, that voice only you can hear, that's the deciding vote. If you choose to believe the outside noise, you'll live small. If you choose to believe the voice inside that says, I was made for more, you'll rise. So right now, you to become aware of the story you're telling yourself. Because your story is shaping your destiny. Change the story and you change your life. The words you use to describe yourself, your future, potential, those words are the architects of your reality. You become what you think about. And if you want to start thinking bigger, it starts by speaking bigger, by building an inner dialogue so strong, so unshakable, that nothing on the outside can break it. That's the first step to creating a life beyond limits, changing the words you whisper to yourself when no one else is listening. What you focus on expands. It's not just a nice phrase, it's one of the most powerful truths about human behavior and achievement. Your focus is like a magnifying glass, and wherever you direct it, that part of your life gets amplified. If you put your energy and attention on fear, your fear grows. If you put it on problems, the problems seem bigger than they are. But the same principle works in the other direction. If you focus on solutions, possibilities, opportunities, your mind becomes a heat-seeking missile for growth. It's always scanning, always searching, always pulling you toward what you're fixated on. The challenge is most people aren't even aware of where their focus really goes. They wake up thinking about bills, about what could go wrong, about what they don't have. They let their focus drift to distractions, negativity, gossip, and then wonder why life feels heavy and limited. Dominates your attention, dominates your emotions. And whatever dominates your emotions drives your decisions. That's how entire lives get built around scarcity, frustration, and regret. Because the focus is never shifted towards something bigger. You've experienced this before. Think about the last time you were completely consumed by worry. Maybe it was about money, a relationship, or a decision you didn't want to face. In that state, everything else around you faded away. You didn't see possibilities. You didn't see blessings. You only saw the weight of that one problem. Now think about the opposite. Think about a time when you were excited about something. Your focus was locked on a goal you couldn't wait to achieve. Suddenly you had energy, you had creativity, you had drive. That's the power of focus. It changes the meaning of the moment and the quality of your life instantly. Now, here's the truth most people don't want to hear. Your focus is your choice. It doesn't feel that way because we live in a world filled with noise, with notifications, with people demanding our attention. But at the end of the day, no one else decides what you obsess over. No one else forces you to replay the same negative story in your mind. You choose that. And the good news is you can also choose to shift it. You can choose to take control of your focus and direct it toward the things that elevate you, empower you, and pull you toward a bigger future. When you focus on what's missing, you live in lack. When you focus on what you already have, you live in abundance. When you focus on how far you still have to go, you feel overwhelmed. When you focus on how far you've come, you feel momentum. That doesn't mean you ignore reality. It means you choose the part of reality that gives you the strength to keep going instead of the part that convinces you to give up. That's the difference between people who stay stuck and people who rise. Think about this. Two people can go through the exact same situation, but because they focus on it differently, they experience two completely different lives. One person faces a setback and focuses only on the pain, so they collapse. Another person faces the same setback and focuses on the lesson, the opportunity it can give them, and suddenly the setback becomes a setup for a comeback. The event is the same. The difference is focus. Here's why this matters if you want to think bigger. If your focus is stuck on small problems, you'll never see big opportunities. If your focus is locked on what you can't control, you'll never use the power you do have. If your focus is trapped in the past, you'll never create the future. But the moment you shift your focus toward possibility, your brain lights up. You start noticing things you overlooked. You start connecting with people you have ignored. You start moving in directions you would have never dared to take. That's not luck. That's the byproduct of intentional focus. Life will always present both problems and possibilities, and you'll always find whichever one you decide to look for. If you wake up each day searching for reasons why life is unfair, you'll find them. If you wake up each day searching for reasons why life is abundant, why you're capable, why today is full of opportunities, you'll find those too. It's not that the problems disappear, it's that your focus gives you the strength to rise above them instead of being crushed beneath them. So ask yourself, what has your focus been on lately? Have you been focusing on your limitations, your potential? On the doors that closed or the doors that are still waiting to be opened? On the fear of failing or the thrill of discovering who you can become if you push through? Wherever your focus goes, your energy flows. Wherever your energy flows, your life grows. And if you truly want to think bigger, you've got to train your mind to focus bigger, not just on what is, but on what can be. Your thoughts don't just come and go. They start to stack. When those thoughts repeat, they harden into beliefs. Beliefs are nothing more than patterns of thought you've accepted as true. And once you accept them as truth, they shape every choice you make, every risk you take, every action you either lean into or shy away from. Beliefs are the foundation of your identity, and they can either build you into someone unstoppable or break you into someone who never even tries. The most dangerous thing about limiting beliefs is that they don't announce themselves as lies. They don't show up saying, hey, I'm here to hold you back. They show up sounding like truth. They show up as that voice that whispers, that's just the way it is. People like you don't succeed at that. You're not the type of person who can do this. Don't even bother. And if you buy into it, that belief becomes a prison. It locks you in and you won't even try to break free because you're convinced the walls are real. But beliefs can also be the wings that carry you beyond what you thought was possible. Think about the person who believes deeply they can grow, believes setbacks are temporary, who believes every challenge contains an opportunity. That belief system doesn't make life easier, it makes them stronger. It gives them the courage to take the risks others avoid. It gives them the resilience to get back up when others stay down. Beliefs aren't just ideas in your head. They're the fuel behind the actions you take or the chains that keep you stuck. If you think small, you will live small. If you think bigger, you will act bigger. And here's what's fascinating. Beliefs have a way of proving themselves right. If you believe you can't succeed, you'll hold back. You won't commit fully. You'll quit early. And then you'll say, see, I told you I couldn't do it. That's a self-fulfilling prophecy. But if you believe you can figure it out, you'll keep searching, you'll keep experimenting, you'll keep learning, and eventually you'll find a way. And then you'll say, see, knew I could. The belief comes first, the result follows. So the question isn't whether you have beliefs. Everyone does. The real question is, are your beliefs serving you or suffocating you? Are they pushing you toward the life you're meant to live? Are they keeping you in a box you don't belong in? Because if you don't question your beliefs, you will live inside them as if they're walls you can't climb over. The good news is beliefs can be changed, carved in stone. They're built from repetition, from experiences, from the meaning you give to what happens in your life. You've built them over time, and you can rebuild them if you choose to. It starts by catching yourself in the moment when a limiting belief shows up. When you hear that voice saying, I can't, stop and challenge it. Ask yourself, is that the truth? Is that just a story I've been telling myself? More often than not, it's just a story, and stories can be rewritten. You rewrite your beliefs by replacing them with new patterns, new evidence, new voices inside your head that are louder than the old ones. You start speaking to yourself as the person you're becoming, not the person you've been. You start surrounding yourself with people whose beliefs lift you up instead of drag you down. You start taking small actions that prove the new belief is real. And with every action, the new belief grows stronger until it becomes your new truth. Remember, no one is born with beliefs. You weren't born believing you couldn't succeed. You weren't born believing you weren't good enough. Those were learned, which means they can be unlearned. And if they can be unlearned, they can be replaced with something bigger, something stronger, something that aligns with the life you're here to create. So don't let old beliefs built from fear, from failure, from someone else's opinion dictate the size of your life. Don't live small because of a story that was never even yours to begin with. Step into the beliefs that build you, that expand you, that make you act bigger than you feel in the moment. Because the truth is, you don't act because you believe because you act. And once your beliefs and your actions line up, that's when you become unstoppable. And that's why if you want to change your life, you must first change what you choose to believe. It's not enough to sit around and think bigger. It's not enough to fill your mind with affirmations, to dream, to visualize, to talk about what could be. That's a start, but if you stop there, nothing changes. The real difference is made when those bigger thoughts get translated into bigger actions. Because the truth is, thinking without doing is just daydreaming. The people who build extraordinary lives are the ones who match their vision with relentless, consistent action. You can have the most empowering inner dialogue. You can focus on opportunities instead of problems. You can build beliefs that fuel you. If you don't take action, it all stays locked in your mind. Action is the bridge between where you are and where you want to go. Action is what turns possibility into reality. Without it, nothing moves. With it, momentum builds. Momentum is everything. Think about a rocket. It takes a massive amount of energy just to lift off the ground. The resistance is greatest at the start. But once it breaks through, it begins to glide using far less energy. Your life is the same way. The first step is always the hardest. It's uncomfortable, it's scary, it's uncertain. But the moment you act, the moment you put your vision into motion, something shifts. You break the grip of fear. You disrupt the pattern of hesitation. You give yourself proof that you're capable of moving forward. And once you do it once, it gets easier to do it again. Here's the mistake most people make. They wait to feel confident before they act. They wait until it's the right time. They wait until they feel ready. And in waiting, they waste years. Confidence doesn't come before action. Confidence is built through action. You can't think your way into certainty. You prove it to yourself by doing the thing you've been avoiding. Every time you take a step, no matter how small, you reinforce the belief that you can. And that's how momentum is created. It's not about making one giant leap that changes everything overnight. It's about stacking small, consistent actions that align with your bigger vision. It's about waking up each day and doing something, no matter how uncomfortable, that moves you closer. And when you do that long enough, those small actions compound. They create breakthroughs. They build an unstoppable force. People look at success and call it luck. But what they don't see are the thousands of moments of action that built the foundation for it. Now, here's where the real power lies. Your actions are in alignment with the bigger thoughts you've been cultivating. You stop living small. If you think big but act small, you create frustration. You see the possibility, but you're not living it. That's where doubt creeps in. When you act in alignment with your vision, you feel alive, you feel congruent. Your thoughts, beliefs, and actions are all pointing in the same direction, and that's when you unlock true momentum. And yes, there will be resistance. There will be setbacks. You'll take bold action and sometimes it won't work. That's normal. But here's the difference between those who win and those who quit. Winners don't see failure as final. They see it as feedback. They adjust, they learn, they act again. Every setback becomes fuel. Every challenge becomes training for the next level. That's what happens when your vision is bigger than your excuses. You stop letting failure stop you and you start using it to sharpen you. The reality is, action is the great equalizer. You can be smarter than me. You can have more resources than me. But if I take more action than you, I will pass you. Action beats intelligence. Action beats talent. Action beats everything. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't reward what you think about, it rewards what you do. So stop waiting. Stop telling yourself you'll begin when the stars align. Stop convincing yourself that tomorrow is a better day. The only moment you have is right now. And if you're not willing to act now, what makes you believe you'll act later? Don't let your dreams stay trapped in your head. Give them legs. Give them energy. Give them action. Because when you begin to consistently align bold action with bold thinking, you don't just dream bigger, you live bigger.